I'd like to call this meeting of the Northwest Local School District Board of Education to order. Chris, if you would please call the roll.
Mr. Unger.
Here.
Mr. Harlow.
Here.
Mr. Heather.
Here.
Mrs. Detzel. Here. Mr. Detzel.
Here. I'd ask that you all join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Our next item is the approval of minutes. Mr. Bowling?
Yes, the Treasurer and Superintendent recommend the Board of Education approve the minutes as listed.
So moved. Second.
The motion's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, Chris, please call a vote. The minutes are approved, 5-0. And the next item is minutes from July 13th.
Yes, the minutes for July 13th, the Treasurer and Superintendent recommend the Board of Education approve the minutes as listed.
So moved. Second.
The motion's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, Chris, please call a vote. Minutes are approved 4-0 with one abstention. Next item is track and field state qualifiers.
Good evening. We are very excited this evening to have Northwest High School student athletes with us who have broken and actually made some school records this school year. And to introduce them, we have Principal Susan Smith, along with recent Athletic Director Joe Pollitt and current Athletic Director Brad Watkins. So Susan, you would come forward.
Good evening. How are you guys? This is the best part and the best reason that I get to be at board meetings. So I'm Susan Smith, for those of you who don't know me, but very, very excited to be here this evening and introduce to you not only student athletes, but wonderful kids. They're not only fast and athletic, they're well-behaved, they're involved in other things. They're very, very humble. I keep saying to them, like just on the way in, I'm like, why are we not still celebrating? It's only been a month. And they're just very easy, go with the flow. Their parents are too. I was the one jumping up and down. And I'm going to let Coach Spence, because she spends the most time with them, talk about each of them individually. But those of you who know me know that I love to tell stories. So when we got to Columbus, the day of the finals for state meet, I'm searching everywhere for the coaches. I find them, and I'm like, do I talk to them? Do I not? They're all nervous. The kids are all nervous. So I'm like, I'll just kind of hang out by the fence. And I'm talking to the coaches, and then it comes time for the 4x100, and I'm standing in the stands with those guys, and I'm obviously no part of the track team, and clearly I'm not fast, but I'm standing by Coach Spence and the rest of the coaching staff, and it's go time, and they're like talking strategy, you know, if this handoff goes well, we're going to win it, if this handoff, and I was like, I'm just standing here excited. So we win. It's clear we won. It wasn't even close. We're state champions in the relay. So I'm tackling Spence and the coaches, and they're all just like, and I'm like, you guys, why are we not jumping up and down? Where do we go? Like, how do we get to the kids and hug them and all of this? And I'm high-fiving, and we run down there to take pictures. Well, so we're all excited, and families are there, and we're excited, and we're taking pictures. And the next day I get a text from Spence that says, you bruised my hand, how do I get workman's comp? So that's how excited we were, and it hit them a bit later. I don't think they realized it right away, and that's what they told me. They're like, we're excited, it hasn't hit us yet. The day was so exciting. They've won so many awards. We're just so lucky that they go to Northwest. They represent us so well. Everyone at the state meet was asking, where are you guys from? Where's your school? Your kids are so great. I'm like, I know. I don't have much to do with track, but I love them. And Spence and her coaching staff, and Kelly Young just walked in. She's another one of our coaches. They treat these players and these athletes like their own kids. They both have their own children, but they're there all hours of the night, making sure these guys have everything that they need, coaching, being a second set of parents to these kids. I can't tell you enough good things about our track coaching staff. I'm so thrilled that they coach at our school and teach at our school because they're great models for our kids. So without further ado, I'm going to bring Coach Spence and Choir Coach of the Year in Track and Field up to talk about each of the students.
I am so excited to be here also. It's not my favorite thing to do is stand up in front of people and speak, but I can speak and talk about my kids all day long. I think my husband's sick of it, but every time I look at a video, he's like, "What are you doing in there?" He's like, "Track, don't tell me." So I don't know how many times I go over videos. He videotapes for us so we can see our handoffs, and we've gotten so now that we don't even time the kids, we time their handoffs. What was their speed in between, just in the zone, because we know they're fast. So I'm going to have them all stand up with me, all 5 guys. The Enquirer says that they're the big 5. I call them the fast 5. Come on up, guys. As I was writing down all of the accomplishments they've had over this past season and the past 4 years, I've had some of them. It's hard to just put it on a small little note card and not talk up here for hours, but I'm going to try to. Beside me, I have Dion Goins. Dion qualified for the long jump and the 4x4 at state meet. Dion's probably my hardest worker on the team. He cares so much, and he'll give you the extra effort. In the regions, as he was competing in the long jump, he had to make up 7 inches his last jump, and we're like, oh, he had top 4 go to state, and we're just like, this is going to be rough because we're talking the top in the region. So we're all like, waiting there, and the jump goes, and he jumps 7 inches to go to state. So that's hard to do when you're jumping, 6 times. It doesn't seem like, well, I can just go jump, 6 times, and get better each time, but it's really hard, and he did that. He also went in the 4x4. He's our lead-off leg. Gave it everything he did, everything he had, every single time. So we're very proud of him, my hardest worker. So Dion Goins, thank you. Next we have Devon Jackson. Devon has been with me for 4 years. I call him our legend at Northwest. There's only 8 people in the city that I talk to the historian that takes care of all the records in the city of Cincinnati, and we only feel like there's 8. They can only count 8 people that's go to the state 4 years in a row. A lot of, especially freshman boys, they don't make it because they don't really mature until they're juniors and seniors. So he's been in 9 different events, 4 times in the 100, the 200, 2 times in the 4x1, 4x2, and the 4x4. So he is definitely a legend. He's got the record of the 100, the 200, the 4x1, the 4x2, and the 4x4 at Northwest High School. Just a quality athlete. He also plays football. He's going to Marion to play football, so and track. So it's unbelievable. He went in the 100. So he placed 13th in the 100. He went in the 4x1, 4x4. He's second in the city of all-time top 25 in the 100-meter dash, and he is 5th in the 200 fastest all time. And there's a lot of fast. When you look at like Terry Glenn and all those people that are big-time football players and athletes, that's saying something. You don't come by those athletes very often. So we're very lucky, and I'm very proud to have coached him for 4 years. So Devon Jackson. It's Jordan Booker. We call him JB. This is Jordan's first year out for track, and not that I haven't tried. I've bugged him. I had his older brother 4 years. He ran for me. So every year we try to, everyone told me, JB is really fast. I didn't really know who he was, and so I'm like, who's JB? Well, how can we get him to run? We could never get him to run. So this year I helped with speed training for the football team last year. So we're running the hill. First time I see him, he runs up the hill. I'm like, that's JB. So I bugged him all year, and I wouldn't let him not go out for track. So he told me he was going to go out, and I think he's glad he did. We're certainly glad. He went to state in the 4x1 and the 4x4. So congratulations. Miles Pringle. Miles Pringle's 4 years for Northwest Track. he has matured and grown into such a wonderful runner. He is the D1 Athlete of the Year for track and field, which is voted on by the Coaches Association. He went to state in the 400, which I think is his favorite. I don't know, high jump was starting to get up there, but he got second in the state, broke the school record in that with a 47.3. The old record holder, Miles Baldwin, I text him like, he's breaking it next meet. He's like, no, he's not. And so he broke it, and so he was kind of sad. I got this sad, face, but so we're very happy about that. He got third in the high jump, jumped 6'9" at the state meet. He had gotten over 6'6", I believe, at Oak Hills, wasn't it? And so we were excited about that. It was the first time in outdoor that he'd gotten. He got 6'5", got 6'6", and we're just like, there's a couple little things he needed to fix. He hit it with his back of his calf, and we're like, so Coach Miller, who's the high jump coach, every day we were looking at videos, watching Miles jump, and so step by step he goes through those, and we watch those, and so he got it. So the state meet, missed 6'7" twice, missed 6'7", so we're just like, oh, come on. So he makes it his third jump, and then he gets 6'9" and finishes third in the high jump. So it's very exciting. And then also he was on he's my second leg of my 4x1. Okay, so congratulations. Oh, sorry, 4x4, I forgot to say 4x4. And if you haven't seen him run the 4x4, you haven't seen someone run, because it gives you chills. Every time he gets out there, we're like, well, Miles is coming up, so we've got this. If we're behind, it's so fun to watch, honestly, him make up the distance. I mean, it's very exciting. So also the 4x4. And we were 12th in the 4x4, right? Okay. It was a rough. We did break the school record this year in the 4x4 in the regions. I thought that was going to be held for a long time. It was 25 years ago. 2 years ago we broke it, and it would have been a 25-year-old record with the 320. I thought that was going to be held for a long time. I'm like, wow, that's awesome. Well, these guys ran a 317, like 4.6. I was like, that's great. So so we broke the school record in the 4x4 also. Malik Beverly is my hurdler, and I think every time I see him, he gets taller and taller. So pretty soon I'll be like, either that or I'm just getting shorter. But he runs the 110s, the 300s. He's also the anchor of our 4x1, and he runs a 4x4. He went to state in the 300-meter hurdles, finished 13th. He went to state in the long jump. He broke the school record, which is his own school record. He jumped 23 1/4 inch, which I had my kids in school there. We always, every time he breaks a record, they want to know how far it is. So each tile is 12 inches, so we count up. And they're like, he jumps that far. So, it's pretty fun to watch him jump. And then he runs our 4x4 also. So we're very lucky to have these Fast 5. And my 4x1 are state champions. I don't think you can beat that. These 4 young men haven't lost all season. And the day before we went to the state meet, we were doing handoffs at practice, and we dropped two batons. And I'm just like, is this a bad sign? And they couldn't focus, and I'm thinking, this is not good. But they pulled it out. They ran a 41.79, and that was their second fastest time. Regions was a 41.76, which is the second fastest all time in the city of Cincinnati, which the 2013 team has the first fastest. So they're awesome kids. I couldn't ask for more. They make my job easy most of the time. Sometimes they make it hard. But I'm very happy to have them here and congratulate them. It's been wonderful. Thank you.
Bench, if you'll stay there and one at a time, give them their plaques
Okay.
in alphabetical order, and Mr. Unger and Mr. Bowling, if you come out front.
This one?
Photo.
Wasn't it within a couple points? What? A couple points of being runner-up.
So which one jumps 23 feet in long one?
Hey, Lori, I think the other thing, too, for all of you, if you don't follow track, it came down to the last race. They almost were state runners-up as a whole team,
Right.
which is just huge. I just want you to know how proud we are of you. And we wanted to be there so bad and weren't able to. And I don't tweet, but I'm following this, and then I'm following the live. I just kept refreshing and following the live results. I was watching everything you did, even though we weren't there. So it is so exciting, and it is so neat to see how well you work together. And I said this the last time. I mean, it is clear that Lori does such an outstanding job with all of you, and the respect you have for each other is awesome, and we're so glad you're a part of our district.
Between the two, Jordan Stronger, if I can get a picture here. Nice smile, 1, 2, 3. Great, thank you. Jordan Booker. Hurry, 1, 2. Yep, Deion Goins.
Our amazing, wonderful Coach Lori Spence.
For those of you who aren't aware, Mr. Bowling was high school principal of Northwest High School for these young men, I think they're freshman and sophomore year. And he is a hugger. Congratulations, it's always a big deal because he hugs each and every student as they walk across the stage.
You know, the other part that they didn't bring up is in the relay, and not in hurdles is probably the toughest sport because you're going over them, but the teamwork it takes. If just one kid's having a bad day to adjust full speed and get that handoff, it's just amazing how they work together as a foursome. So you should be really proud of yourselves and your accomplishments. Good luck to you next year.
I think the other thing, too, we need to give a round of applause to their families. You did a wonderful job with all of these guys.
And if I could have the student athletes and their parents in the hall for a photograph.
Did you ever run track, Todd? Could you pick it up okay?
And relay at the end.
I can't imagine 23-foot long jump. It's really something. Could give them about another second or two to get out. You have a legislative update, Michael. And we'll move right along to our next item, which is legislative update. Mr. Harlow?
Okay, state legislature is on break for the summer. It's unlikely they will return before mid-September. One of the first things that they will do is reconcile two versions of charter school reform. One passed by the House, one passed by the Senate, behind their list of items to tackle. There are a lot of policy changes in the budget that will be implemented over the coming weeks and months. When legislation is passed, it has about 90 days before it really takes effect, and that gives time for people to adjust. I could bring just massive amounts of data, and I could spend an hour reading off all the provisions in the budget, but I think that would probably be not the best use of our time here. I do want people to know that the administration here, the teachers, through professional organizations, through the union, through other avenues of communication, they got exhaustive amounts of information about all these changes and how to implement them. Hopefully how to implement them effectively. I think sometimes maybe the guidance is better on some things than others, and there's some snags in the road. But just to tackle some of the things here, opportunities for College Credit Plus are expanding. The maximum amount for the Autism and Peterson Special Needs Scholarships increases to $27,000 per year. Budget language also includes provisions to create an evaluation system for school counselors, similar to the OTES evaluation for teachers, and standardized testing times, state tests, and durations. They've been shortened overall, and so there's a lot for everybody to digest, and there's a lot of information coming out and being presented over the next days and weeks.
Thank you, Michael. Move on to our next item, which is a Butler Tech update. Mr. Detzel?
Yeah, Dan, just two quick things. The bioscience building is ready. It will be ready for the opening day of school, I believe. Todd, is that August 11th or 4th? They start
10 days earlier. than that.
Yeah. So,
2 weeks, basically.
and if any of you guys want to get a tour before school starts, let me know. We can set that up with the superintendent,
Great to
Bill
have a
Miller.
Summer construction project that's done well before
Yes.
school starts. How,
Yeah.
how unusual, Mr. Detzel?
Very unusual. So, and then the only other thing is that our treasurer at Butler Tech, after 34 years, is retiring, so we are in the midst of doing a treasurer search. Other than that, that's it.
Thanks, Jim. Move on to our next item, the report from employee organizations. Is there anyone here from the certificated licensed employee group that would like to speak? Seeing no one, we will move on to the next item. Our classified employee organization, is there anyone here that would like to speak? Our report from school-related organizations, is there anyone from a school-related organization that would like to speak? Seeing no one. Community comments. Chris, did we get any requests to speak? So we've had no one from the audience request to speak. We'll move on to the financial reports of the treasurer.
Yes, I'd like to present Amy Wells, who will talk about submitting financial reports per ORC requirements.
The financial reports for the month of June and for the end of our fiscal year are included in your packet for approval. And I would like to highlight on the cash flow report that while some of our revenue and expenditures line by line, some were up and some were down, overall we came in at 100% of our target on the 5-year forecast for the fiscal year 2015.
That's great. Thank you.
In accordance with Section 3313.29 of the revised code of the state of Ohio, records need to be made that the treasurer submitted a financial statement of receipts, expenditures, balances, and investments in the regular funds of the Board of Education for the period of the fiscal year 2015. Treasurer and superintendent recommend the Board of Education approve the financial reports as listed.
So moved.
Second.
The motion's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, Chris, please call a vote. The motion carries 5-0. Another superintendent item.
For certificated licensed personnel retirements and resignations, you will see 5 certified teacher resignations and 2 other certified resignations. The superintendent recommends the Board of Education approve the certificated licensed personnel retirements and resignations as listed.
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Like I like to add at every meeting, all this information's been posted on our website through the through the electronic school board link. Everyone has access to this basically 72 hours before the meeting if we get it posted on a Friday. So, any other discussion? Hearing none, Chris, please call a vote. Motion carries 5-0. A classified personnel item.
Yeah, the next is classified retirements and resignations. 6 classified resignations are listed. The superintendent recommends the Board of Education approve the classified retirements and resignations as listed.
So moved. Second.
Motion's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, Chris, please call a vote. Motion carries 5-0. Our next item is a fiscal item.
Yes, advances for fiscal year 15, advances from the general fund for year-end closing. Amy, anything you want to add?
Just that these advances have been paid back. It's just so we can close the fiscal year in for grants. And so we have to spend the money, then draw the monies down. So they've already been paid back.
The treasurer and superintendent recommend the Board of Education approve the advances as listed.
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, Chris, please call a vote. Motion carries 5-0. Another fiscal item.
Vendor contracts and compliance with ORC, we need board approval for vendor contracts. The superintendent treasurer recommend the Board of Education approve the vendor contracts as listed.
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, Chris, please call a vote. Motion carries 5-0. General business item.
Yes, we have a master contract agreement between the Northwest Local School District Board of Education and the Ohio Association of Public School Employees Local Number 230. Attached is the master contract agreement. The agreement is for a 3-year contract for transportation employees. We have worked through the summer through negotiations. We finally reached agreement. And the superintendent recommends the Board of Education approve the master contract for the Ohio Association of Public School Employees Number 230 is listed.
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion?
I just want to congratulate everybody on the negotiation process and and the timing and getting it done before the school year starts. I put a child on the bus. Actually, my wife gets a child on the bus most mornings, but we do appreciate the service from the bus drivers.
I'm glad to have this matter resolved and looking forward to working with you for the next 3 years. Thank you. Any other comments? Chris, please call a vote. Motion carries 5-0. A certificated licensed personnel item, Mr. Bowling.
Yes, certificated licensed personnel items. We have 2 approvals of administrative appointments, 11 approval of initial contracts, 1 administrative change in status, 1 approval of extended service contract, 5 approval of extra duty contracts, approval of summer music specialist, and 1 resolution to hire a non-licensed coach. The superintendent recommends the Board of Education approve the certified licensed personnel items as listed.
So moved.
Second.
The motion's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, Chris, please call a vote. The motion carries 5-0.
If I could interrupt for a moment and turn it over to Stephanie Kessling. She has some bios for our new administrators for the district.
I have the privilege of introducing some of our new administrative staff this evening. First and foremost, Adam Hall. Adam, could you stand, please? Northwest Local School District is pleased to announce Adam Hall as White Oak Middle School Assistant Principal. Adam has been a member of the Northwest family since 2005, where he began as a social studies teacher at Colerain Middle School. In 2011, he moved to White Oak Middle School and later served as the Dean of Students from 2013 to 15. He has also coached various sports within the district, including football, baseball, girls basketball, and boys golf. Adam has earned his bachelor's degree in integrated social studies from Miami University and his master's degree in educational leadership from the University of Cincinnati. He is joined here tonight by his wife Jenny and their 3 children Tyler, Elizabeth, and Nathan. I think they stepped out. We'll take a moment and recognize. I understand. Please join me in welcoming Adam to his new role. Next, I'd like to introduce Dave Caldwell. Dave, do you mind standing? Excellent. Northwest Local School District would like to welcome Dave Caldwell as the Assistant Principal of Colerain Middle School. Dave comes to us from West Claremont School District, where he taught social studies and was the head boys basketball coach for the past 8 years. Prior to that, he taught at McNicholas High School for 8 years. Dave has a bachelor's degree in history and education from Wittenberg University and a master's degree in educational leadership from Xavier University. Dave is supported by his wife Cheryl and his 3 daughters, Brooke, Lily, and Paige. Please join me in welcoming Dave to his new role. I'd also like to welcome Jack Fisher. Jack, do you mind standing? Northwest Local School District would like to welcome Jack Fisher as our Assistant Director of Human Resources and Professional Development. Jack comes to us from Finneytown Local School District, where he was the Director of Business and Academic Services from 2014 to 15. Prior to that, he was the secondary campus principal for Finneytown from 2006 to 2014 and principal for both the middle school and high school level at Mount Healthy City Schools from 1999 to 2006. He has also taught social studies at Colerain Middle School from 1995 through 1999. Jack has a Bachelor's of Science in Education with a concentration in political science from Miami University, a master's degree in secondary administration leadership from the University of Cincinnati, and his superintendent's license from Ashland University. Jack is supported by his wife, Mindy. Please join me in welcoming Jack back to the Northwest Local School District. Last but certainly not least, we'd like to welcome Chris McKee. Northwest Local School District would like to welcome Chris McKee as the Director of Business Operations. Chris comes to us from Bethel Tate Local School District, where he was the Director of Operations from 2002 to 2015. Prior to that, from 1989 to 2002, he was the Project Manager for Air Electric Incorporated. Chris is joined here tonight by his wife, Georgette. Please help join me in welcoming Chris to his new role. We are thrilled to have all of these new administrators join our leadership team.
We don't have a new hire to the district, but I also would like to bring attention to Daryl Yater. Daryl will be moving from Assistant Director of Curriculum and Special Education to Assistant Superintendent of Curriculum and Student Services. So I would like to welcome Daryl to his new position. Sitting next to him is Brenda Miller, who we also moved to Assistant Director of Curriculum for the replacements that we had. She was on vacation her week, so I'd like you to introduce her also. Welcome.
Thank you, Todd and Stephanie. Move on to our
Classified approvals. We have 6 new classified approvals. We have 5 changes in status. I was on the wrong page. The superintendent recommends the Board of Education approve the classified personnel items as listed.
Dan, I need you to jump back.
that's why I hesitated, because it was on 13.5, so go back to 13.4.
13.5.
13.5 is where we are.
It's taking me to 13.4. Okay. Now it's on 13.5.
Classified personnel items. Superintendent recommends the Board of Education approve the classified personnel items as listed.
So moved. Second.
Motion's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, Chris, please call a vote. Motion carries 5-0. General business item, Mr. Bowling.
Yes, we have revised board policies. Listed are revised board policies EFF, EFG, and EFB so that the district meets state sales standards, wellness standards, and food service management. The board will be presented these revised board policies as you've seen them in advance. The superintendent recommends the approval as listed.
Is this an
It says
action?
here
or-
that- yeah.
Well, actually, it's just an information, so.
I was going to say, it looks like a lot of
These were put
reading
in by
time.
Cheryl, so these are information only. The wellness policy, anything you want to add on that?
No, those are all Cheryl's.
Okay. So we will ask for approval at the next board meeting.
Thank you.
I'll bet they're lengthy.
Yes, they are.
Give us something to read, some summer reading projects. We'll move on to the next item, which is another general business item.
Yes, just wanted to have a discussion with you about our construction manager at risk. As you know, prior to the last levy, we did a RFQ for a CMR/CMA. After discussions, we will repost the RFQ for a construction manager at risk. So we will open it up again. We will take the applications as they come in. We will narrow them down to a list and present them to you for you to be interviewed by you. So I will need to eventually set up some dates. We want to have this in place by the November 4th levy. So I will go through Chris McKee. He will collect the RFQs. I will present them all to you. We will narrow them down to however many we feel we need to interview based on the qualifications and what we're looking for. And then form a committee to make a final selection and negotiation with whatever is the best value for the district. I've consulted Dinsmore, and this is their recommendation.
So we had 5, I think we had 5 apply
We had
for
5
May
last
6th.
time.
So hopefully we hear
We'll open
from
it back
them
up, and
great.
yeah, and this time we will be specific to CMR. Because I know
Okay.
we've had lots in the audience and attendance at board meetings check and so on and so forth, so.
Great. And we'll move right on to the next item, which is community communications. Is there anyone in the audience that has any question or comment specific to the things we've discussed this evening? Seeing no one wishing to speak, we will move on to our next item, which is an information item about our September 14th scheduled board meeting. I think we wanted to change that.
Yes, we had a conflict with a couple board members, so I think the suggestion was to replace it with September 21st, if that works for everyone.
And then we would have one September 28th also?
Yes.
Okay, I'm okay with that, Pam.
Yeah, that's fine.
I think that'll work.
So we will scratch the September 14th meeting and send out a notification that we'll have one on September 21st. And is there other board items a part of this item, or is that the next slide?
That's it.
Other board items, Mr. Detzel.
I just wanted to congratulate the kids from Northwest again for being state champions. I actually saw them run 4 different times this year, and there was no contest when they were running against these other schools, and they're very, very good athletes. And one of the gentlemen, Devon, he was on that 4x1 that won the state 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So they did an excellent job. That's it.
The ability to run like that was a long time ago, Jim, wasn't it? Me too. It's like looking out of the way in the past machine, isn't it? Pam, did you have any comments?
I just wanted to add the same thing. I mean, I don't think, if you've never followed track, the fact how close they came to being state runners-up for the entire team, that's huge. And it literally came down to the last race, and Mason slid ahead of us. It just speaks wonders that Lori does a phenomenal job with those kids. And you can just see how proud she is of them and the relationship they have, and I just love it, how well they work together. We're very, very fortunate to have her.
Thank you, Pam. Mr. Heater?
Yeah, Dan. First of all, the Northwest kids, when I was at Coleraine, we had a young man who won the high jump as a junior, and then somehow there were some family issues, and he transferred to Princeton and won the high jump at Princeton as a senior. And this guy was like a freak of nature in the sense how he could jump, and he wanted at 6'8", and they talk about bigger, faster, stronger, and then I hear at a lower division, what was it, Jim, 6'9"?
6'9", and he was third.
He was third. And, I mean, what will it be in 50 years? It'll be jumped third before 14 feet. But this guy was such a phenomenal athlete, and to think that, you know, I mean, it's just unbelievable. But to have that many kids from one school is just second. I've never seen it in all my years of following Northwest and Coleraine sports. And finally, the message board is up. It is running. We're not wasting electricity. We are testing it because you got to check for bad pixels. We had 2 go bad. The electrician and myself went over, and he did the work. I held the ladder and handed him parts. Seems to be working fine now. There's all kinds of test patterns, and we had a custom made. They gave us 2 free ones, and went ahead and bought a 3rd one. I hope there's some money left in that fund, Amy, because it's spending money. And I paid it on a credit card, so if there's not, it's covered. I took the old Coleraine logo from the, I don't know if it's the 60s or 70s. It's a cardinal, and he's like standing there. Well, the guy, I said, make this cardinal kick the football and have it explode, and then say Coleraine kickoff. And he like makes this thing run up to the football, and then he blinks. I don't know if you noticed that. And the ball goes sailing, and it blows up. And they did it. I didn't have to change one thing. So if you want to see it, it's running now for another few days, and that's just to make sure the pixels are good before we have the first game, and then right in the middle of the game, the thing goes out. Most of these signs are typically run 24/7. Commercial ones, if you drive down Cheviot Road, they're on all the time. So we just wanted to make sure it's okay, and we've got a note up there so taxpayers can't say they're wasting money. My God, the sign is up and it's, there's nobody there. We have various warnings or notifications. This is a test of the new sign system. But anyway, that is up. Looking forward to having that there at my 40th class reunion, which is actually year 41, September the 4th, when Coleraine plays St. X. And looking forward to another exciting school year, and appreciate everybody who helped in the process.
Chris, I was there at TIP this morning, and it was working just fine.
Well, thank you, Jim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good?
Yeah, I made that.
The one thing they had to change was the game time.
Yeah, he's changing that tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah. Weren't they
It looks
7:30
good,
last
looks
year?
good, it looks very good.
Weren't they 7:30 last year?
Yeah, the whole league changed to
Yeah, that's
7
what
o'clock.
Todd email said. Okay, well, thank you, Jim.
Mr. Harlow?
Certainly some great accomplishments for our track team, our athletic team, and it's great to see as the non-athlete up here. I guess I have to remind people that Northwest High School had an outstanding year too with the Legos and the Coleraine, and Northwest had the National Merit Scholar. It's just really good to see all the success that our students are having here.
Thank you, Michael. Anytime that one of our scouts shows up, I always like to call them out when they're in the audience. Bradley Kramer's here this evening, and part of the scout advancement is to attend a government meeting or a public meeting. So I'm glad to see you back there, Bradley. You look good in your uniform. I know you just came off a week of summer camp because I drove the bus up there Saturday to pick you up, and I distinctly remember bringing you back. So, so welcome to our meeting. Thank you to everyone who showed up. I'm really pleased to see our new employees who've come from other districts to work here at Northwest. I think we have a lot of really good things going on here, and I'm sure Todd is just as excited as can be to kick off his first year as superintendent, and that's coming up pretty quick. And so thank you all for coming.
Bradley, you picked a good meeting, a nice short one.
Yeah, Bradley, our
Chose
last-
wisely.
We've met till after midnight before, but this is good. So thank you for coming, Bradley, and we'll move on to our next item, which is we just had board member comments and a motion for adjournment.
Second.
A motion's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, Chris, please call for a vote. 5-0, the meeting is adjourned. So I'll go to end meeting. Are you sure you want to end this meeting?
I don't know how.